Welcome to Unforeseen Heroes, a Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign assembled from a number of different Paizo products. I'm Vaneless Vanarel and will be the GM for this game. Joining me are Dezi, Libbiel, Daegron, and Vanarel, who will meet shortly. This is intended to be a weekly campaign, live here on Twitch, and uploaded to YouTube. And without further ado, welcome to the saga of the Unforeseen Heroes. It is the year 4722 AR, the recent emergence of the Rune Lord, and the escape of the Whispering Tyrant has led to a lull in other large-scale tensions as nations adjust their politics. For smaller communities around the Inner Sea, this has sparked a period of peace and prosperity. But even among this calm, darkness always lurks below the surface. Join us as we follow a band of brave souls as they struggle with the emerging forces of evil. We start at the small village of Osprey's Cove on Chakakoth Isle, Kindred Coast, which is located right about here on the map. So we are off the shore of Varesia and New Thassalon, a little bit south of the land of the Lenoran Kings. Nominally, this is part of New Thassalon, though Rune Lord Belimarius has left the isle alone aside from minor taxation to this point. This tiny communal village of about 100 people survives primarily off of farming and fishing, with very rare visitors from either its sibling village of Iron Harbor, traders from the mainland, or traders from the other islands in the Ironbound archipelago. It is the morning after a violent storm. Driftwood has been scattered across the beaches, docks, and more coastal buildings. Smaller fishing vessels are overturned and lay far beyond the usual high tide locations. Roofs are damaged, livestock are roaming free. There is much work to be done to first clean and then repair, yet the town bubbles with excitement and laughter. Neighbors come together to pool their expertise, strength, and meals. Families look to improve, not just replace the damaged elements of the town. Amidst the pleasant bauble, a suspenseful quiet begins to spread from the Old Coast Road as messengers are sent off. We first. Sword, a young red-haired child, runs up the lane to a house just outside the town center. An overgrown garden is full of colorful plants that have been allowed to grow however they want. Branches shaken loose from the storm lie across the path and have broken bits of the simple fence. Libbiel! Libbiel! Are you awake? Are you in there? The boy shouts. Sister, Elder Ordwe needs to see you. She says it's important. Everyone else is already up cleaning up after the storm. You can't sleep all day. Please, don't send your bee after me. This isn't a prank. It's important.
The only sound that comes from the house is extremely loud snoring and a mild buzzing from a bee. It seems that the bees have been trying to wake Libby for a good minute, as it is. It's not been very successful. Perhaps you're going to have to come in through the brand new hole in the side of our front door.
Sorg will pick his way across all the strewn branches and downed bits of the fence and rap strongly on the door. Libby, you have to wake up. The elder needs you.
Quiet groan as she finally decides that maybe now she can be awake.
Libby, hurry up. Elder Ordwe says it's important. I don't know why, but I think she says be ready for a journey. Bring your stuff and meet her at the entrance to the town.
Can I have like 5 more minutes to nap?
I have to go grab some other people, but you better be there when I come back.
Everyone should know that that's actually a trap. She will just continue to sleep.
Well,
but the bees on uh, this person's side. It starts nudging her face, and she's like, "Oh, fine." And she stands up reluctantly and starts getting her stuff together.
We leave Libby and move over to the docks, where we see. Oh, I don't have a token. All right. We see a stout halfling by the name of Desmond calling out from the docks near the beach, with a hint of paternal frustration. Dezi, Dezi, why are you looking over the beach? There's so many more important chores around town.
Clouds in the sky. See the patterns they make? I wonder if that has something to do with the storms.
Oh, never mind all that. Elder Ordwy wants to talk to you. Says it's important. Over where the coast road enters town. And Desmond gestures for Dezi to come close, and then leans in and says, "There's a body. You run along, see what she wants. Maybe all this studying of yours will actually be useful for once. I've got to go find someone else.
Yeah.
Off you go."
As he will head out and towards the elk.
Desmond turns from the beaches and heads back to the docks, where he catches the eye of Elder Anlergog, the lead fisher of the village. The two have a very quiet, rushed conversation before Desmond heads back to the village center, while Anlergog stares at a person hard at work at the other ends of the dock, meticulously bailing out and righting the various vessels of the townsfolk. What do we see Vanarel doing?
At first, I think you might just see a couple of hands holding a mostly intact bucket, just bailing out the worst of the water from the boats that have been half sunk in the storm last night. After a moment or two, we'll climb up onto the dock, eyes squinting as the light hits him up here. One down. He'll call out to Elder Amagog,
Vanarel,
and then sigh heavily.
good work.
Yeah.
Leave that for a moment. Now, I know you wanted to get out on the water today, and you're working like your shark chase to get it done, but I'm afraid we need you on land. Something's come up, and it sounds like Elder Ordwy will be traveling the old coast road to Iron Harbor. The road's probably seen mudslides, down trees, misplaced animals. We need someone like you to go with her and make sure it's safe. There's also some disturbance at the entrance of the town. Let's go there and meet her. Grab your stuff along the way.
Right, sure. Yeah, Vanarel will grab his repair kit before jumping off the boat and heading up the dock alongside Elder Amagog.
And we once again see the young sword running down the lane to the far end of the town. Now, nervously watching an orc wrestle successfully with some of the larger feed basins that usually take a team of men to move. However, this person makes the work look easy. He still stops to rest more often than you'd expect, always cocking an ear toward a nearby house. Sorg mutters to himself, "His brother. He's still worried for his brother," before shaking himself free of the awe over the strength on display. "Daegron, something's happening. The elders are summoning folks. Elder Vandos told me to make sure you're included. He's worried and said your knowledge would be important. I don't understand. What knowledge could he be talking about?"
You see this large, like orc, stripped of most of his armor and heavier clothing as he's dragging his cross around. Kind of stops and starts kind of wipe the sweat from his brow and calls him and says, "I guess it would be more exciting than this," but kind of like looks back towards the house. "This is going to take long. You're going to need to make sure somebody comes by and checks on Calvin for me."
I'm sure the elders will know about that. You'll have to ask them though.
And he kind of like looks back and goes, all right, grab my gear. And you see him go back in towards this house. and hear maybe the kind of occasional shuffle of things inside before he steps back out with a large pack with various pieces of his gear, a large, like, single-handed but large-headed axe kind of hanging from the back of the pack as he kind of like slings it over his shoulder and calls back behind him. He goes, "Well, I don't know how long this is going to take, but if I'm out late, someone will come by." And then he closes the door and heads down the laneway towards the front of town.
So the four of you would be gathering around this location here, so kind of at the southeastern end of the town. I'll drag your tokens there as well, so you're all... Is Libby awake or not, I guess, before I drag Libby's token?
Yeah, she managed to get there before she lays down on the grass, just takes a nap.
The four of you arrive at the town entrance, where you see the elders gathered around a body lying on the ground. Elder Van Doss reaches out to pat Elder Ordwy on the shoulder. "I see we can't sway you from this. I guess it's what we wanted by adding a youngster to the elders. But please, be careful on your journey. Take these four with you. Some you chose, some we did, but all speak with one heart." The other four elders start walking away, shooing all the other villagers back to work. Elder Ordwy, I'll get her picture for you. Turns to look at you, kind of bubbling with excitement, and despite whatever the problem here is. "We're going to Iron Harbor. Grab your things. The journey should take most of the day, so plan on staying overnight. If you've got money for the inn or souvenirs, you might want to bring that. It's not every day we get to see our sibling village. Oh, and the village has authorized some funds for you as my guards. Here." And she will hand you all 10 gold pieces each. If you need to buy any last-minute supplies for the road, please take care of that quick. We need to be on the way. It's about 20 miles, so it's, 6 hours, 7 hours, and definitely not doing there and back in one day. Any questions from you all?
Oh,
Go for it.
we're on guard duty for you? What's going on? I just got pulled over from the docks.
She looks around and notices that everyone else has kind of left. And, look over here, and around this corner of this building, you do see a body lying on the ground. Elder Jahadi found a dying man this morning. Looks like he was a priest of Thorum from Iron Harbor. And it was some sort of dying message. The only words Elder Jahadi understood were Iron Harbor, Rust, Ship, all dead. Too late. We have to help. We've been trying to forge tighter bonds in the recent years. Enough of the old-timers who remember the early animosity have moved on. We need to stand together. We need to help. But the elders are worried. They think I'm a little too impulsive, too naive. But, and it's a long journey. None of them felt up to it.
Daegron kind of like, as he's kind of scratching his black goatee, kind of looks and goes, "Well, it would be more exciting than being around here, but a follower of Thorum here? It's interesting." And he's kind of like looking down at the body. He has Thorum lore. Can you roll on this? And
Of
see
course.
Is this part of the clergy or just like a follower?
Yeah, you can definitely roll that.
Dizzy's gonna take a look at the body. I wonder how he died. Do we have any idea?
I saw what looks like crossbow bolts. I saw exposure. He was sopping wet. Of course, it was the storm and all. he has some rashes on his skin too. I don't know which of these are the most important, but you can take a look. And Daegron, you think he definitely has a warrior's build, this individual. You would easily believe that he could be a priest of Gorum. You don't see, like, he's not wearing armor, which would be a little surprising, but he does have, like, the shirt he's wearing does have the marks of having been worn beneath armor. He has the calluses of some form of weapon wielder. So all of those fits, this feels like this could be a priest or just a big adherent. You're not sure which, but nothing feels wrong about that to you.
Okay.
We will
Just
try
kinda
some
looking over
medicine
this.
to figure out maybe the cause of death.
Sure. Yeah. You definitely can tell that there was 2 crossbow bolts. Looks like they were poisoned by something. You don't know the poison, but any of kind of the creepy crawly insects of the island have similar poisons. Some of the spiders, some of the centipedes, things of that nature. Looks like something coated some crossbow bolts in that and shot him. Looks like it was mostly in the back, both injuries.
It's like he was shot in the back by poison bolts. Wow, this is a real murder mystery.
And just as a follow-up to that, you said like he didn't have armor. He wasn't carrying any weapons or anything.
He was not. Yeah. The body was a little odd. Definitely exposure to what looks like infected and poisoned crossbow bolt wounds, and like this strange rash over a lot of the body. She's like, wait, maybe this was armor, and there's like flecks of rust all over the ground around him that maybe could have been armor in better days, but it's paper thin now and it's just flaking off.
Yeah, you kind of like picks it up at like the little bits of it. Goes, maybe an old ceremonial armor or something. That doesn't make any sense, but I guess this is why we must go. And he kind of like hefts his axe and he looks around at this kind of like sleepy little village and goes, sure be more exciting than hauling troughs around here.
Did you look through his supplies to see if he had any messages or anything?
Sure, you can give me a perception check. You do find tucked into his boot a heavily rusted holy symbol of Gorum.
Is this perhaps a magic effect? Can I see if I recognize the signs of any sort of spells I might know?
Sure.
Let's roll the old Arcana at it.
Okay. That definitely works.
Oh. Libby's just waking up. He's
I mean,
obviously
you've
not
heard of
okay.
things like rust monsters. You've heard of, but also just the salt air here, is brutal on armor as well. Hard to know.
I try and for survival to feel if like this could have happened naturally between, this short span of time.
Sure.
The rest.
You can't really get a sense of how fast it has rusted. You'd be surprised if someone was wearing armor that was this rusted normally. So that does seem surprising. And if he left Iron Harbor with non-rusted armor, this would be completely unthinkable that, overnight it would rust to this state. So either he wasn't taking good care of his armor before, or something unusual has happened here.
Doesn't seem very Goron-like.
No,
Daegron could probably
follower
confirm.
Flora.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the follower of Flora would leave with these tools, and he's kind of like drops the like withered and rusted away little bits of probably like chainmail or something. Shot in the back and ran all the way here. I have no clue about something like this.
Yeah, I mean, you would
The weather
confirm
eats
that.
away at the armor, but the oil protects it. And kind of like he like kind of like rubs a finger down like his chainmail and like leathers, where you can see like there is a decent amount of like oil all along it to protect it from the salt air and just the acidity of it all.
Yeah, you would easily confirm that
At least the
the Goron followers you're aware of, they may not like polish their armor to mirror finishes, but they take care of their weapons and armor because it's important to them. It might not be ornate, it might be impressive and like spiky at times, but it's not, they would not let it rust. And even more so, they wouldn't run from a fight. Being shot in the back is highly unusual. When they die, they tend to die in battle, facing their foes.
Dezi will take the rusted holy symbol, like put a little note on it that says evidence and tuck it into their cap.
So Libbiel's going to look at Elder Orc and be like, so which was it? Did you pick me, or am I here because I was thrust on you?
Oh, I asked for you. I
He
thought
blinks and looks really taken aback.
I know how you've tried to outgrow how the village here sees you. I think a journey would help.
Maybe it will. So are we getting a pack animal, or am I walking the whole way? Rested.
Well, I gave you some money. If you want to spend that on an animal, go ahead. Yeah, I don't know if you're sleeping on an animal is likely to work too well, though. You'd probably fall off and get woken up very abruptly. Probably not a fun way to be woken up.
Walking it is.
I gotta go and say hi to my dad real quick and grab a few things for my help.
Yep, okay. We'll be trying to leave here. Let's give you 10 minutes if you need to run off and do anything you need. If you need to buy any last-minute supplies, please take care of that, and we'll be on our way. This is a grand adventure.
So,
We'll run off excitedly towards their house. We say goodbye, but also quickly be trying to stuff all their notes and stuff they have on the region in the bag.
and instead of leaving, Libbiel will stay here and do her daily preparations, which she just woke up, so this is the time to do it. She'll get her spells and ready her daily casting of our mystic armor. That's what it's called here.
Okay.
I'll just
Yep.
apply that to her.
Sounds good. And is everyone else ready to start the journey then?
Yep. Daegron's got, he's just waiting, kind of leaning up against the building, just running a honing stone along his, first pulls out like the axe and kind of maintains that. It's like his personal knives and things like that, just for utility use that he has with him. Starts just maintaining all of that as they wait for Dezi.
Libbiel looks at Daegron. Don't you want to say goodbye to your brother?
I did. We'll be back soon.
Okay.
During all of the discussion, Vanarel's eyes didn't wander far from the body itself. He wasn't taking part in any of the investigations or looking too closely, but just looking at this soul who died on, I guess, the outskirts of some other town. He's just gonna kind of absentmindedly heft that gold that was just given to him and just say, like, I'll be right back. I'll be quick.
And
He's gonna head off just to buy just literally just one thing
okay,
to keep with him.
sounds good. When you've all
You see, they've changed into a suit of light armor, and they've got a crossbow strapped to their back. He's also got a holy symbol that looks like a winding road.
So you've all arrived back after gathering a couple of odds and ends, and Elder Ordwy takes to the road. What type of marching order, what type of exploration activities would you all like to have while journeying along the Old Coast Road?
Well, for Libbiel, she has been having this pet project that she's been looking forward to. So she's having her little bee familiar, Bia, look around for some interesting plants. She doesn't really know what's a herb yet, but, you know, if they look interesting, they gotta be useful for something, right?
So kind of a searching for natural plant type effects while you're walking around.
Yep, I figured that's a nature role, but she's super good at it.
Okay. If we need them, I'll
Yep.
ask for one. How about everyone else?
I'm gonna just roll with the skill experience.
Okay.
He'll stay near kind of the front of the party in case we're kind of taking separate paths up, maybe up the hill to take a look around.
He's probably in the middle. He's probably doing a search activity, but more in the form of looking at interesting things and maybe jotting down quick notes here and there, because he hasn't really been out of town much.
Vanarel's likely would likely start scouting as well, but seeing that Daegron has also taken that tact, will hold back near the front of the party. Just keep an eye out. And Daegron, if you ever need to fall back for whatever reason, I think we can swap out. I think we've got the same mindset here.
I don't think I need to explain that Liddy's lagging behind.
Okay. So the journey takes a fair bit of time, as discussed. It's going to be most of the day hiking and walking. The first couple hours go by pretty uneventfully. Ordwy is in great spirits, has quickly asked you all to just call her Ordwy. No, please, no titles. You can tell, it sounds like she maybe, you'd all know, she only became an elder of the town earlier this year. And she is very young. She's in her 20s, probably the same age of a lot of you. The town wanted to have some new blood on their elder council, and she is from a respected family and is the one here. She is a priestess of Caden Kalian, so loves to drink, loves telling kind of adventuring stories, loves just being alive. And to her, this is, it's always been a horrible problem that Iron Harbor and Osprey's Cove didn't get along. You know, yes, it's a whole history. 100 years ago, the founding siblings of the two towns had a spat, and as family things do, it blew up over time. But she thinks it's definitely time for that old problem to be put aside and the two towns to have a closer relationship. So that's one thing that's really motivating her on this trip. She starts talking a little bit about kind of her fears of what's going to happen now that this island has been claimed by New Thassalon. The tax collectors have not been harsh. They do come by once a year. They take, and of course, no one likes that. But so far, it has not been oppressive. But she is very worried about what may come in the future from that. You can tell that seems to be her kind of thing that she likes railing against. Is she seems to have a very bad view of Bellamarius and at least that half of New Thassalon. And does that spark anything from any of the four of you?
Not from Libby.
I think that
Desi trying to pay attention,
right.
but they're just getting so distracted by everything around them. Trouble, especially when it comes to taxes. He doesn't really isn't too keen on it. Interesting.
Yeah, Vanarel doesn't really know enough about this Velimarius and when they came back or how they came back to form much of an opinion, but he's listening closely to Ordwy, Elder Ordwy, or Ordwy. It's gonna take a minute to get used to that, but he's kind of soaking the opinions in that way, or the point of view, maybe slowly forming something together.
Yeah, I think Daegron just kind of like looks back over his shoulder and goes, "Oh, Ordwy, that's why they made you, and why I halt troughs."
She laughs a bit and says, I know there's more to all four of you than that. And this may not be what's important, but you will find things that matter to you. Whenever you find them, embrace them, stay with them, trust them. And she will break into like some sort of kind of cross between a tavern drinking song and a sea shanty as she's walking along this road. You can tell for her, even though it's serious, it's still, she knows it's a 7-hour journey. There's no way to, not have fun on this and just take it as a chore. To her, this is, a trip of a lifetime. And she is just thrilled to be here with all of you.
I think Daegron kind of follows along and kind of says, "Look, these I know," and he'll continue along with like these mix between almost shanties and barroom drunken ballads.
After following...
Vanarel,
Lines is definitely not. Very good at the singing, especially with your eyes going.
Vanarel, were you saying something there as well?
oh, he's just joining in on the shanties and not singing very well, but he's enjoying himself with the ones that he knows for sure.
After about 3 hours of just hiking through the woods here, along the shore, you get to the place that was known as Kindred's Crossing. The old road becomes a little more obvious once again, with portions even retaining some old paving stones as it turns south toward a short rocky peninsula. Let me put you on a different map. So you are on this southern end of this road. It kind of does this weird loop back around this peninsula here. There is a very worn and collapsed bridge that has been collapsed from stories, at least for decades. This was tried to be built probably 100 years ago when the two siblings initially split, but then still tried to get along and then never finished this bridge. And as you are crossing this area, you hear a very weak voice shouting, "Help! Help! I'm stuck under the rowboat. Please help! Help! Been stuck here all night."
I think Daegron would start moving towards it. Is there anyone's voice he recognizes?
Give me a perception check on that, I guess.
Kind of guy calls out. He's like, "Who's daft enough to get stuck under a rowboat a whole night?" He's kind of like stomping towards it.
It's not a voice you recognize. The person says its name is Orth.
Orth, where are you from? And he kind of like reaches down towards the thing to try to like lift it up.
From Iron Harbor. It was out fishing in the storm. And you're reaching under to lift the boat up?
Isn't concerned about anything else. He lifts down with one arm
and
like wrenches it up. And
we are in combat. As you may have expected, but you played along nicely. So, when you lift that up, you do see a very angry animal comes out at you. And I need to toggle him in. I need to toggle this one in. So go ahead and roll initiative. Libby, you can roll nature for initiative since you've been scouting for plants this whole time. Everyone gets the +1 from scouting.
Am I able to take my...
Is that an option, or is that like...
If you want to use perception instead, you can do that. That's fine.
Okay. It's just that's a +1 versus a +4. Woof.
And it looks like we'll need to also adjust some, I think, token templates Vanarel is showing up as player character on this.
Yeah, I just had that thing. Am I able to roll my 25 into that?
Yes, I will. Yeah, so just go ahead and roll and I'll update to the 25. So scurrying out of underneath the ship, you see one of these.
That's an interesting looking creature.
Kind of a cross between a scorpion and a lobster. To use the best description you might get right now. And up first will be Vanarel. So you probably heard a surprised shout from Daegron.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess shooting down here to deal with this angry-looking scorpion crab thing. Vanarel usually has 2 hammers on him. I think he's been having such a good time like singing along and such. I don't think he has either of them drawn, so I'm gonna have to at least pull one of them right now.
Okay.
So I will get one of those ready, and I'm gonna keep a real close eye on this thing and designate this guy as my hunted prey.
Okay. So you've strode up to him, grabbed a hammer, focusing in on trying to figure out how this thing works and how to best hit it. Dezi.
He thinks this is very interesting. I want to know what that is. So I would like to try a nature check on that.
Sure. You know, you've heard of these. These are called reef claws. You know that they are actually more of an aberration. They're not exactly of the natural world, even if it is still an animal in some ways. So you think you'd learn a lot more with occultism than nature here, but you can get a little bit. What would you want to know about them?
Sort of their basically resistances and weaknesses, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're not aware of any. It's in that sense, it is just a normal natural animal. It might have a little bit better armor, being a little bit of a crustacean-like creature and kind of small and agile, but nothing that's kind of especially easy or hard to damage it with.
In that case, I will try. Guess I'll shoot some needle darts at it. See how it feels about the piercing.
Okay. I'm going to be giving it 1 point of probably cover because it's Daegron is holding up the boat right now and it's still underneath it.
Yep.
So. And you completely miss it, like thunking into the side of the boat, narrowly missing Daegron.
Sorry about that, Daegron. That first shot, jitters.
And Daegron.
Also,
Okay, so Dagger's going to holding up this thing. Can I use an action to kind of fully just flip the rest of this rowboat off?
Yes.
And then he'll, as it does, he goes, "What is talking lobster snake?" And he'll just bring the axe down on it with a snagging strike here.
That hits it.
Slash.
Yeah,
As he kind of brings it down on top of its head.
Yeah, you hit it hard. You see some of the carapace starting to spread open a little bit. It hisses and makes some weird noises that you're not used to hearing anything living make.
And after, so now it'll be off guard with that snagging strike as he kind of like catches it around and pulls it closer, and as he gets a hand on it, then he'll bring the axe down again and see if he can hopefully finish this thing off. And it just kind of like thunks right into the wood he's thrown over to the side.
And it is up next. It's squirming around. It's not quite held, but it's kind of, it's trying to get itself loose from the axe, and that doesn't really work. But it is going to bite at you with its little pincher. And it will miss. It tries a second time. And that one will hit, it looks like, with a 20 against your AC. So 3 points of damage, probably to your leg, as it kind of scrapes into you a little bit. And we will need a saving throw.
All right,
you can see that there's, like, you felt like a liquid that was not just the water or something scrape against your skin, but it did not seem to affect you at all. And it has one action left, and it tries to just kind of latch on with its pincher to stay attached to you. That would be a 15 against your Fortitude DC. Okay, it does not grab you. Elder Ordwy right now is just going to stay back. He doesn't think you need help right now. Libby?
So Libby's been preparing her spell, and she's going to unleash a live wire on this thing. Little copper filament flies out from her hand, electrified, and
Misses, but this one still does electricity damage on the miss.
Yep, so on a failure, just roll damage and just take the electricity damage.
Yeah, I'll handle it. Just roll it, and I'll figure it out. You should be able to just press. Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, no, I was trying to see if I could turn off the 1 damage, but it wasn't letting me.
Okay, I applied 3 because it looked like it was 3 and 3, and you have 1 action left.
And for her final action, she's going to take several steps back. Get some space between her and this thing.
Okay. You, yeah. Up to Vanarel.
All right, well, I'm going to draw my other hammer. Oh, I drew both of them when I'm going to draw my other hammer, and I'm going to try to crack the shell on this thing with a twin takedown. So 1 action, 2 hammer strikes, and hopefully a dead evil crab.
That is at least one of the 2 hits. The first blow does kill it. The second swing misses. However, as it dies, it does strike out with its claw one last time at Vanarel. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Seems like it goes a little berserk on death. And it hits you for 6 points of damage, and I need a Fortitude save from you.
These things are sharp.
And you also seem like you don't even know why you had to make a saving throw. You did so well. You have one action remaining.
I guess I'm gonna check around for more of these things. I don't know if they're solo hunters or if they show up in packs or flocks or
Okay.
whatever you call a bunch of these things. Just a general seek action, I guess.
Sure. Where are you seeking?
Just the immediate area around me.
Okay.
I believe it's a 10-foot.
Yep. Give me a
Yep.
perception check. You don't see anything else under the boat area there or near you. But then you do hear a voice coming from the water just over this way. And you actually do see a creature there now, off to the east, who's, no, you're supposed to hurt each other. I want my boat back. And then he's going to cast a spell on you. I will need a will save from Vanarel.
Lovely.
And you shake off whatever he was doing to you, and then it's going to swim out a little bit. And that was its turn. Dezi.
What are we doing that, my friend? I would like to figure out what that is.
Sure.
With nature, I don't know. Arcana. Actually, it looks
Up to you.
look humanoid society.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do society.
You've heard of these things. These are called Hannovers. You know they are a type of fae, kind of a gremlin-style creature. Normally, basically sticky fingers on boats. They seem to approach boats and steal things most of the time. They're not typically very aggressive usually, but they do seem to be a little territorial.
Second action will be to try to figure out what spell it cast.
Okay, you can give me a... and take a... looks like arcane or nature on that one, or occult. Actually, this might be any one might have it, I think. That was a fear spell. Oh, and I don't think I
Tried to
shared
scare
their...
you away. They're evil fae of some, well, bad fae that try to steal things on ships. I'll pull out my crossbow and just say to it, "You don't really mean you any harm, but stop trying to hurt us." It's my full turn.
Okay. Daegron.
Daegron kind of looks out towards this creature in the water there and kind of like fixes it with a glare, and he goes, "You saw what happened to this weird lobster steak thing," and he kind of like picks the body next to him. He goes, "If you don't want what came to it, then I'd get out of here." And he's going to do an intimidate on it.
Sure.
And then as a follow-up, he goes, "If you want this boat here," and he just pushes it like into the water. And he'll kind of just stand up in front of everyone else. If it tries to do anything else, he'll engage it. Otherwise, not going swimming after some little creature.
Okay. If you've pushed the boat in the water, he is going to go for the boat. Does that end the combat
he
for
just
you all?
pushes it into the water and steps back.
Is there anyone who does not want combat to be over?
No. I think,
Okay.
yeah, I think Libby will let this go.
So
He's going away, that's why I
the little
asked.
gremlin goes after the boat, and it is cackling about finding something in the boat, but other than that, we are out of combat. And Elder Ordwy looks fairly impressed that you handled yourself well. You went to assist a cry for help, even if it was a faked cry by the gremlin making the little creature make noise. And the fact that you let it go, yeah, they are a nuisance. Everyone in the fishing villages hates them, but they're not really threats. It's kind of one of the facts of life of just living out here along this kind of wild sea. You always have these little fake creatures sometimes causing problems. Do you need to do any healing?
Daegron's gonna like sit down and I'm good for a while. Stop on my account. He just kind of shakes his head, looking out towards the creatures and like swimming around with pushing the boat. He goes, "They're so annoying, but there's no point in trying to chase them in the water. That's just no
All right.
take up onto the path."
Did you need? I don't know if we have anybody that can catch up.
Well, Vanarel will limp back to the trail and be like, well, I got a. That's one of the things I went to go get before we left. He'll start pulling out a healer's kit. I think tore me up pretty good, but I mean, I can keep going if we need to.
Elder Ordwy will... Oh, let's keep going a little faster. Here you go. And she will do a heal for you, calling on the blessings of all good things that come from drink.
Oh. Cheers to that. Thanks.
So what's our strategy for getting across this little ravine up ahead?
That is your next challenge. 2 weather-worn stone statues stand on either side of a 15-foot wide rift. Let me actually make sure that's on the stream. There we go. A partially completed, partially eroded old stone bridge doesn't quite cross the gulf. In the water 15 feet below, the surf crashes on a worn wedge of stone that might once have been part of the bridge.
Huh.
I mean, if we can get just one person across, one of you heavier people, they could just throw a rope back tied to a rock and we could much easier cross. But that's the issue, is getting the first person across.
Is there anything here on the bridge that we could use to salvage?
You don't see a lot. I mean, it was a stone bridge. It looked like there had been some wooden planks, but it looks like they had been already repurposed years ago. You don't know who or what. But yeah, you can come up with ideas.
Is the boat still there, or did he take the boat with him?
He took the boat with him, or he's kind of riding in the boat, cackling at the waves, and just having a grand old time off the coast here.
This area here to the side, is this... If I went to jump it, would I be able to land there easily, or is it too difficult terrain?
I believe as long as you can clear a 10-foot gap. So if you can jump 15 feet, you can definitely find a place up in that area to make it across.
Okay. I think Daegron kind of like tie a rope around his waist and throw it back. And from over here, would go to do a long jump.
Okay.
Libby will hold the other end of the rope.
Go ahead and give me an athletics check.
The athletics.
You just make it.
Yep. It kind of like
balancing on the
skids
edge.
his heels on the edge of the ledge on the far side here, and jumps across.
You know, you kind of have that moment where like your heels are over the edge of the cliff and kind of rocking forward and backward, and you know you're really glad no one pulls on the rope at that moment, and you've got yourself across. What's the plan for everyone else?
They'll go over and affix the rope to the stone-like pillars.
go ahead and give me a, let's take a perception check and either a thievery or I would take crafting for the affixing of the rope.
On the perception. And as he kind of like ties the knot, he kind of like looks at it and kind of like plucks his tongue at himself. He's gonna undo it. I'll use a hero point to- Oh no, he rolled the same thing. He looks at it and he's like, "No, I think that looks good."
Yeah, it looks great. Maybe you're a little distracted by seeing a crossbow bolt wedged in that post.
He's kind of like staring at it, and as he's kind of like looking over it, he kind of like yanks it with one hand as he's holding the knot, and kind of absentmindedly kind of like tugs it firm against there as he's holding the rope. Kind of like looks at the crossbow bolts. Huh. I guess maybe they got this far, and he's kind of like just absentmindedly kind of looking down the path and farther up to the north here.
Yeah, you're not seeing much else, but you are kind of watching for stuff. What are the other three doing?
Libbiel will be the next one. Alright, I'm gonna try the same jump. But if I fail, I'd like you to, make sure the rope doesn't come
Yeah,
loose.
he's got it tied there to try to make it more stable, but I think he's, no matter what, holding still like the other end.
Alright, she's going to attempt the jump. She's not as good at this, but she believes in herself. That's what matters, right? So,
You got this.
takes her running start, and she goes for it with an athletics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You click the right button. There you go.
You do not make it across, and you are wet and in the water. You don't take any
Oh,
damage.
no.
The area here is very deep, and it cushions enough of the fall, but you are now completely waterlogged. You are still holding onto the rope, so you're not drifting and being thrown out to the sea. The surf here does not come in and out very strongly. The rock at the entrance to this little gully does help break up the waves. But you are in the water. How are you getting out?
She's going to kind of tug herself along the rope to
Okay.
get to right here, and then just kind of holding the rope, but put her arms up like uppies to.
Yeah, I think Daegron will reach down and grab the rope, pull Olivia up higher, and then try to pull her up.
Okay. Give me another athletics check for that. You get her halfway up on the first try, and one more check. Feels too slippery, like the water's just hard to get a good grip, and doesn't fall, but is still just kind of hanging there. What are the other two doing while this is going on?
Vanarel will just look over at Dezi. You want to give this a go? I can spot you.
Well, I'm gonna throw the rope across. Oh, oh, sure. Yeah, I can do this. Maybe I'll wait till they're done and throw the other end of my rope across. That way I can get pulled up on the other side.
Okay. So Dagon, just go ahead and give me another roll then. Sounds like the other two are waiting for this to be resolved.
There's fours. I can't get away from them.
Can I aid?
Yeah, you can give an aid. You can try.
All right, we're going to, because she's been trying to
Either way, the rope is there if you can pull yourself up too.
assist with this, so
Mhm.
give you the effect aid on this.
Well, you'd have to roll
Next
first,
one.
so
Oh yeah, right. I
roll your
forget.
own athletics.
I forget that she actually has to somewhat.
Go.
I'm going to say that gets you up. It's more actually Dagon aided you, but you got yourself up. Maybe a little bit of surprise there that that's how that worked out for you. But you're up on this
So
side
she's
now.
doing telekinetic hand the rope back over to them, picking up the end of it from the water.
Okay. So yeah, Dezi, you have one end of the rope. The other end is still tied here on this post.
See, we'll try this jumping.
You call that a knot? You want me to do this properly?
Oh, it's strong enough. He kind of like gives it a pat. It's kind of like loosens a little.
Yeah,
So he's
I'm
kind
gonna
of running up
retie
to the
them.
edge and jumping as this discussion is going on.
Just going to retie the knot. No.
As long as you don't have a minus, you made it across. And then Vanarel.
Oh, she ties it way worse. See, that's how you tie a knot.
Yep.
She walks way.
It's like just a bundle of
It's just
string and
it's
rope.
kind of wrapped around the post, but there's no actual knot. Yeah.
It looks great from this side of things.
No, that's not how you tie a knot. Let me show you how to tie a knot.
Meanwhile, Vanarel is already backed up, ready to go.
Yep. Apparently, tying knots will be the final boss of the campaign.
All right. Well, gripping
It looks perfect jump.
Gripping a very secure-looking rope, Vanarel will run to the edge and will leap across.
Woof.
Will also fall in.
Whoops!
Ordwy is kind of laughing of like, if you all wanted a bath, there are easier ways of doing that. And then she'll try her jump. And she's close enough that she's going to try to grab the edge at least. She only missed by 1. Nope, she goes
I'll try to
flashing
grab
in as
Ordwy.
well.
Yeah.
I'll try to grab.
Okay,
let's
yes,
pass, I
Dezi,
guess.
yeah, you want to try to grab her hands? Give me a reflex or an acrobatics for that. That is enough. So you've kept her. She's hanging on to the edge here. Vanarel, though, you're kind of more in the middle.
Don't worry, Libby is here
I'll
to
do
help
an
you
eight.
out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna swim over to the edge, I guess, where the bridge is, and try to, or what's left of the bridge here
Yep.
on the map, and try to climb my way up.
Go ahead and give me 2 athletic checks, 1 to swim and 1 to climb.
Right.
Yeah, luckily that was the easy one, so you managed to swim over. And Ordwy is trying to climb up now as well. Streamline that a little. Ordwy does get up. And you make it across. The whole party makes it across. I think half of you have taken a bath along with Elder Ordwy, who is laughing this whole thing off and just what we need in the middle of the day. Nice little wake me up.
There was so much
Slightly more
thanks.
concerning.
Entry.
Libby looks like an upset wet cat, and it's like, yeah, wake up.
Those seawater never hurt anybody, but the best part is, it'll dry off.
And be all salty.
Yeah, that'll do very good things to my robes. Can we continue, please?
Daegron kind of looks towards Dezi. I see you found the bolt here. Maybe this is where that priest of Gorum got tagged.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the bolt. I yanked it out of the post, I think.
Okay. I can take a crafting check to examine it.
I'll assist you in there. I got, or if you don't have.
Give
crafting,
it to
I
you
can
to
roll.
look, but we can both take it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're assisting here, Dagon?
Unless he doesn't have crafting, then otherwise I'll use
You
that.
should
but if
do
he
your
does,
own
I'll-
check. I was.
Okay.
You are better than me. So.
Okay. Yeah, so Daegron, you can tell that there is centipede venom on the bolt. And the bolt's on the smaller side. It does feel like it was probably not from a normal sized crossbow.
Kind of like flips it over in his hand. He's like, smaller crossbow, handheld one, or just for something smaller? I'm not sure. Or venom tip, and he kind of like hands it back towards Dezi and says, "Know of anything around here that would use that?"
I'll take a look, I guess, with society.
Vanarel will just look suspiciously at that Fey thing floating out in the ocean on the wrecked rowboat.
So Dezi, you're thinking it's some kind of smaller humanoid. You haven't heard of the Hanavars using crossbows, so you don't think it was one of them. Probably not a water-based creature. They don't tend to go for crossbows. They're hard to keep in good condition. So probably some terrestrial-based smaller creature, but you're not sure what. You don't have a lot of familiarity with them around here. It does look even smaller than like your crossbow because you have your size small, right?
Yeah.
So the bolts here are probably even smaller than that.
So I don't think it was our Fey friend back there. This doesn't look like it came from a water creature. But yeah, something small out here. I guess we should keep our weapons out. It seems a danger is about.
And we're an hour in.
Seems
I've given a hero point to Daegron for the first hour. Should have already been applied, so you don't have to do it yourself. And you're continuing on, it sounds like, unless you have more investigations.
I do have a question. Does prestidigitation take seawater out of robes?
Let me double check.
There is the clean and tidy thing.
I think the clean and tidy would at least get rid of the salt. I don't know if it would dry off the robe, but you can at least ensure you don't end up salt encrusted, I would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna at least use it to get rid of the itchy salt.
Yep, easily done.
Just we search this area. If this is where the battle took place, or there might be other evidence.
You could,
We'll also leave this as evidence and put it in the bag.
you could give me a perception check on that. It's hard to say. I mean, there's definitely... I mean, it was a violent storm last night. The wind and rain has been completely, kind of scouring this area. You actually think if the bolt had not been wedged inside the stone, or inside the wooden post here, you wouldn't have even found the poison remains. That would have been diluted and gone. So yeah, you're not seeing anything that you can lay a finger on, because it's been probably 12 hours of storm.
Whatever was here was gone.
Still a good idea to keep our eyes open.
I can take a perception or scouting lore for people who are keeping their eyes open. Yep. Vanarel, though, you do notice as you're rounding this corner, so as you're coming kind of around this way, you can move yourself up to around here in your marching order. You do see that there is a ledge above the road that you think you see something moving in. What would you do?
I will quietly but urgently just tell people to slow down, and at least to Daegron, who's looks like we're going to be up in the front together a lot. I'll just point out the that ledge up there.
I think he was looking out at the ocean. He kind of goes, "Huh? What ledge?" And he'll pull a. He has a few small hatchets across his back that he pulls one into his offhand and kind of like looks up. Get a look at what it was.
Just something moving up there.
Pay no attention to the
he'll-
flickering
with
images.
Vanarel, he'll just kind of look back and notify the rest of the group that Vanarel's seen something there.
I'll take the time to point that out as the others get closer as well. Just the ledge, something is moving up there.
Okay.
Proceed with caution.
So it might be hard to tell on the map, but the area from where you are to here So that kind of the dark section, that is greater difficult terrain, but does not require a climb check. So this ledge is highly elevated above both sides of the road. Doesn't need climb,
How
but
far up?
is greater difficult. Just the normal squares it would take.
Okay, so it's like 10 feet of a tough slope.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, he'll just keep moving along as he keeps an eye towards. He's kind of got his one that hatchet in his right hand right now that he's kind of just gingerly testing the weight of and kind of getting ready in case he needs to throw it. He'll kind of lead past this.
And since you're watching, you definitely see the gleam on the tip of a crossbow bolt aimed out of a bush at you all.
If he sees that, he's gonna just chuck a hatchet into the bush.
Okay, I'll let you be able to target. You probably will still need to do let's do a concealed check on that as well. So it's D20 flat check, which you
Because he
can.
will start casting a spell.
Okay, so the flat check is a success, and
Heard that one, but okay, let's do the
Yep.
the hatchet throw.
then we will be into combat. That's the one action you're going to get before combat.
This and what? 20 range? Yeah. That is. What is the range movement drop?
-2.
Minus-
Foundry should do it if you have him targeted. That's going to hit. Roll your damage. I'm trying to see something's wrong with my tokens here. That's the good one. And so everyone else at that point, roll initiative. That felt like too many. Nope, that's correct. Or Elder Ordry. Okay, I see we have everyone there. So up first is a little animal comes scurrying out of the cliffside. Looks a little something like that.
Hmm.
And it's going to make its way down the wall. It does have a climb speed, so it's a little bit less affected by this. 5. It will move to there. That would have provoked from you if you have a reactive strike.
Oh yeah. Still, and he's got the other. This. Swings with an orc.
And that will miss.
Oh. Swings it into the dirt as it kind of like scuttles down around him.
And it's then going to try to bite you. But it maybe it kind of rolled that last little foot down the slope and kind of tumbled, and it completely botched its first attack. It does try a second one, and has no luck in connecting with you. Daegron, you're up for your actual turn.
Okay, he's going to use intimidating glare on this thing as it's gotten up in his face. Lets out a bellow also. Demoralized. Yeah, it's not rolling great. Hope the attack rolls go better. And
Yep.
Go for the snagging strike on the first here.
That will
Yep,
connect.
Now it will be off guard, and he's going to swing the second time.
And that one will miss again. These little creatures seem to be more agile than you're expecting, and they're weaving between your blows and wrapping themselves around your legs and just being a nuisance. Vanarel.
All right. Yeah, I think we'll just make the keep the front line nice and solid here. I will eyeball this thing that has entirely too many legs and needs to be stopped today. I'm going to just advance on it, but you can tell Veneral doesn't like being next to this thing. Something's kind of squeaking him out about it. But we're still going to move up, designate this thing as a hunted prey, and use a couple of hammers to bury it in the dirt. Again, with a twin takedown. We hope.
First one is going to hit. And second one
Second
misses, but you have destroyed that creature.
He shudders a little bit.
Any actions left, or is that all of them?
No, that was my 3 right there.
Got it. Libbiel. You still
Okay.
see the tip of a crossbow bolt peeking out from a brush. Looks like there's a cloak maybe on top of a bush that this thing's hiding underneath, kind of wedged
Well-
back against the edge of this cliff.
Libbiel has decided now would be probably a good time to use her one pass to sleep. She's going to let out a deep, loud yawn, but it sounds like it was spelled out like a very interesting script. She's going to target here, and it's a burst 5, so it should hit a few extra squares.
Wrong button. Sorry about that.
I could place the burst 5, but
I was
it's
just
usually
measuring the distance just to make sure it's in range. Oh yeah, it gets there. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, no, I looked at the range already.
Okay. We need a. Why is it? Oh, that's.
I can place the burst
No,
5.
I got it.
that
Here we
will
go.
help.
Doing the rolls. Plural. Oh. You see the crossbow bolt, fall out of the. Oh, I guess it doesn't technically fall out of their hands with this version of it, but you do see like the tip of the crossbow kind of bobbing back and forth as you think this creature is dozing on its feet. That was 2 of your actions. What else do you want to do?
Considering that there's range at play, she's going to cast Shield on herself.
Dezi.
So I think this thing is asleep. Try to figure out what it is then.
Yes. I'm not sure where you would have read about them, but this is a Darrow. A short, wiry humanoid with milky white eyes, gray-blue skin, and wild shocks of off-white or gray hair. They are descendants of a mysterious type of fae abandoned in the deepest, darkest caverns. They typically are... They typically live below the ground. You almost never hear about them above ground. They have severe allergies to sunlight. That's probably why it's hiding under a cloak here in the middle of the daytime. And it does actually look pretty sick as it is. So you think it is not doing well in the outdoors. What else would you want to know about Darrow?
I guess what their normal special abilities are, if they have any.
The main things you know about them,
They like to use poison is one thing.
Yes,
I
they
guess
definitely like
very-
to use poison, and they seem to have a way of doing extra things against people who are poisoned.
I will let people know this, and I will also say this might be the one that shot at the Gormite. Maybe we should question it and take it alive. Then 2 actions left. Well, I'm gonna cast Bless.
Okay.
There's some arcane words, and my holy symbol starts glowing.
Okay. This creature does get a perception check beginning of turn to wake up normally, but it's not going to be very easy for it. It does not wake up on its own. That was its turn. The other creature that you haven't seen, who also fell asleep up there, also is doing a check. It does wake up on its own. It spends an action to right itself. Sorry, it doesn't have to. That's right, because the level 1 sleep does not make them fall prone. This one is woken up. It is not prone. And it will start scurrying down the cliffside to you all. There's another one of these guys. And it will target Daegron and strike. And miss. And just barely miss on its second attack. And we are now up to Daegron.
He's going to let out another bellow. He's like, damn bugs, and he's going to use a demoralize on this one and see if he can get anything from the player.
That will be a success. It is scared off of you. That was a loud bellow.
And
That also might give
and
the
then
other
he
thing
is
a
going
bonus to wake up, but
yeah. Well, as far as he knows, this thing's woken up. The other one's up there somewhere. So he's going to then swing the axe, the next splitter with snagging strike on the first hit. Great, and he'll go
Miss.
for the exact same thing on the second. Gross bugs keep swinging around at it as it's kind of like scurrying around his legs here. And that's all three.
Vanarel, you have another bug to deal with.
These things are the worst. Okay, well, I'm gonna put a bead on this one as well. Here's my new target for hunt prey. And yeah, sort of a repeat of the last time. Just kind of form up a steady line here next to Daegron, and I'm gonna try and crush this thing. Too many legs. Too many legs.
That will hit. You're definitely taking your anger out on it.
Yeah, well,
That's
look,
a second
four
hit.
legs. 4 legs or more. Gotta stop. Gotta go down.
And that got...
As my 3 actions there.
Okay. Libbiel, what do you want to do? You know you
Libbiel.
had them asleep, but you also know you've been making a lot of noise, so...
Yeah, Libbiel is going to quickly cast a telekinetic hand to pull that harp away from above the creature. If
Okay.
that is, if the knowledge was spared
Yeah,
before.
I would take whatever your magical discipline check is for that.
Oh, just like
Occultism, Arcana, whichever one is
Oh.
your...
I think it's Arcana. Yeah, it's Arcana.
Okay.
Here you go.
Yeah, you're able to get the... It took us because it did take a little bit more dexterous than you normally would have with that spell to kind of unhook and the cloak felt like it was really kind of stuck through all the branches of this bush, but you have pulled it off, and I'm going to say that is definitely going to wake up this creature, who is now...
But now it's suffering from sunlight, so...
It is definitely squirming, and you see like its eyes, it's basically having to keep its eyes closed. It's like it can't deal with the bright sun. It does not look like it is doing well up there. You have one action left.
For my final action, I'm going to reposition myself behind our frontline friends.
Dezi,
So yeah, I think I can make a non-lethal attack with a ranged weapon with the -2. So I will stride there. I will expand my Bless Aura. And I guess we will try to kind of clip its head with a non-lethal strike with my crossbow. Is that okay with you?
sure. Just making sure you heard me say sure.
Good.
Okay.
I'm adding the minus.
Got it, okay.
I know. So,
That's gonna hit.
a little bit.
She is up next. Let's see. She is going to... She's kind of glancing around, having a hard time seeing what everyone is doing here. And going to squint a bit. Going to do a flat check to target here. First crossbow bolt just goes flying out right over Dezi's head, lands in the water, 20 feet, 30 feet from shore, nowhere close to even the right shot. Reloads the crossbow and tries a second one. A flat check is possible, and the actual shot is a 14 against... Oh, I'm supposed to be targeting Dezi, not Daegron. What's Dezi's AC?
18.
18? Okay, that's a miss. So 2 shots, one went horribly wide, and one was a little bit closer, but still a miss. And we are up to Daegron.
He's going to spend all the time it takes to scurry up this this hill here. So is this 20 feet and then 20 feet here?
Yes. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so he's got 25 each, so each of those will take one, and then he'll step in next to it with his last.
Okay.
So he goes scurrying up the hill and kind of starts clawing at the bush, trying to get whatever this creature is out.
Vanarel.
All right, Vanarel will just quickly look back at Libbiel and Dezi. Like, you two good here?
Yeah.
To be
All right.
fine.
All right, doing very much so the same thing that I think as Daegron. Just because of the way this all works out, it's like 3 actions to climb up this thing.
Libbiel.
Libbiel is going to target a little friend up here and try to hit them with a live wire.
That's going to hit. I'm actually going to say that's a crit with the extra sunlight problems for it.
Okay. Right. I don't
doubled
think
it.
I...
Yep.
Okay.
And it does get persistent as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you have one action left as you...
Cast shield on myself once again.
Dezi.
I will here to get a better angle. Then I'm just going. I'll reload, and I will try to shoot it non-lethally again.
That will miss. He is... She drops her crossbow and pulls out a club. Looks kind of frantic here and is going to smack at...
Manipulate to draw it?
It is.
Those were heck.
Yep. I knew that was coming. She did not. That misses. She
What
thinks...
about, does the sunlight affect?
Oh, no, that's right. It's the off by one, so that would hit. Yep, that is a hit now.
Okay, so swings it down as it pulls this club out and like pitches it in the side of the head with the axe.
Yes, and that caves in this creature, and it is definitely dead at this point. I know Dezi was trying not to kill, but Daegron was not at the end there, and last blow is what matters.
Ron,
Kind of
before
like
we gonna question it.
Pulls it out. Goes, question it, but did you see the poison on these things? I'm not taking the chance with any of you.
It's too dangerous alive. It could have had any kind of a number of hidden weapons.
I suppose.
And
I'm gonna
it
go
like
check on
pulls
that.
it out from this bush and starts like pulls the weapons off, throws them to the side, and starts kind of searching through this this person's equipment to see what they were carrying on them.
And
He's
we-
also going to take a look.
We've just had a viewer
Yep.
redeem the bonus hero point award, so that Daegron just got another one. I'll add that manually. There we go. So you finished the fight. Some of you have climbed up here. What do you want to do?
Well, I'm going to check on our elder, make sure she didn't get hit by a stray bolt of anything or any.
She's
You know,
doing
make sure.
she's doing just fine. I mean, it seems like you almost feel like she wanted to be joining in more, but maybe something is holding her back from helping more. You're not quite sure what's going on there. But yeah, nothing targeted her. She's doing just fine.
All right.
He's going to be looking at the dead creature as well as the surrounding area to look for evidence, look for interesting information.
Sure. I mean, you can at least look at the dead creature's inventory. That should be visible to you now that it's marked dead. To see its gear, but other than that, there's no writing. There's no like secret message or journal, or anything of that nature.
This
I
thing
think
didn't seem to
Daegron
like the
pulls everything
sunlight.
out.
Yeah, definitely. From what Dezi knew, these things do not like sunlight. They have an allergy to sunlight. You do know that they are somewhat known for often trying to do experimentations on surface dwellers to try to learn how the surface dwellers can survive in sunlight.
That's why they were up here, but that seems odd.
You also
I've
see
stayed up here.
You also see a second one dead right next to it now that you're up here. And that one is missing its cloak. So it looks like this one may have used the other one's cloak to try to make this temporary shelter up here from the sun.
I mean, I'll look to the second one as well to see if they.
They do not.
How this one died. He kind of like pulls the other body over and like flips it over to see is there any clear wounds on it?
Lots of what looks like sunburn to you. You don't see any actual wounds.
I guess they really don't like the sunlight. Kind of like pulls out this unusual liquid out in a container. Does it look like anything?
You could give me a crafting check on that. I can send that to the chat. You're not sure. Probably you're guessing some kind of poison, just knowing what you know about these things, but what poison in particular you don't know.
He kind of hands it off to the others. Maybe some kind of poison. I'm not sure. And he pulls the. He stashes the rope in his pack, dude. Might as well take the use of the thing.
He's going to try to take out the extremely odd thing that is not useful but more interesting and try to handle it carefully so it's not hurt themselves or sicken themselves when they try to get the tool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Vanarel's going to take a look at that weird liquid too.
You're not sure what the liquid is either. So, Dezi has a very weird healer's kit that is going to make you sickened if you're carrying it. Oh, no, sorry. When it's outside its container. Never mind.
It,
yeah,
so
when you're using it. Yep. And Dezi is doing that. Vanarel looked at the poison, does not know what it is. Libby is playing with her bee and maybe trying to cheer Ordwe up. It looks like maybe Ordwe isn't liking all the combat that's been happening. And I think is being amused by the bee's antics.
We should take the liquids and try to figure out what they are later. Maybe
You make your way back down the cliff.
Kind of turns away and slides down the cliff backwards.
Okay. You resume your march. It takes, you're only about halfway to your destination. You know that. Times have been going slow. Elder Ordwe, turns to Dezi partway through this, as you're maybe an hour out from this location. So, what do you think of this first real journey? I know you've always been wanting to travel.
it's so fascinating. Got to see these interesting things. I didn't know there was so much jumping and adventuring. And we got attacked. That's pretty amazing.
Right, amazing.
Desi's eyes kind of light up. You can tell that they just don't get out of the town much or haven't been out of the town. So even though the danger has been here, he's definitely more interested in the fact that there's all these interesting things going on.
And Ordwe would have... No, go ahead.
I think Daegron would have been... He has a little more experience since he left the village and has come back. Kind of goes... It's part of it. That creature, the Fae, there's strange things like that. But that creature up there, that you said Darrow?
Yes, Darrow.
What happened there? You haven't heard from Iron Harbor. There's apparently danger there. You're waiting on the road.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Sorry if I seemed excited. I know we have an important job to do too.
No, you can be excited. That's fine. It's not like you get to do something like this every day. Shall we continue on? That thing, 2 points, the centipede looking thing, doesn't really smell great, and I'd like to get away from it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. New stick.
That's a good idea. Let's get away from that thing.
You have been walking for about an hour at this point. So, yeah, you're well away from that. And, the rest of the afternoon keeps pressing onward. Eventually, you come to what looks like another very large kind of peninsula that, from their stories, is getting quite close to Iron Harbor. I'll put you on another map. Let's see if this one behaves. It does. Good. So you know that from your stories, Iron Harbor is nestled in one of these kind of larger coves, and the road kind of winds its way around, hugging the outline of this peninsula before kind of getting to the town proper. But so you're getting close, and it's probably about 3-4 p.m. It's early spring, so there's still some good sun ahead of you, but it's starting to feel a little bit chiller on the air. The sun is finally cleared for the first time in probably the whole day, and it is brighter. You can see a little bit more. The waves are maybe calming down just a little bit. We'll go to that one. And you know the road would just follow the coast around. You could try to go overland if you want. That would save some time. That's really up to you.
Do you want to go the safer road, the long way, or the try to climb over this little hill here?
We should stay on the road. So, we think we're going to reach the village by nightfall?
Yes.
I don't see a reason to venture off the road.
Yeah, just because it's my first time out here, I don't want to start taking shortcuts to places that I don't know yet.
Okay. So you go walking along the road. You can move yourself, down to this point to start with. And, you do see that there is a kind of a small fishing pier, it looks like. You don't see anyone on it. You don't see, any signs of buckets or fishing poles. It doesn't look too well maintained, but it does seem to be at least, someone comes here sometimes. But you don't see anything there right now. Across the way, you do see something kind of odd. You've probably heard of this before, maybe from rumors or such. Over here, make sure that was showing up. Yeah. On that little island that's kind of across a sandbar, you do see some really tall spikes, reddish, orange, gray, stabbing into the air. You have heard of this place called Rusthenge, and you think that's what it's referring to.
Do they just I haven't really been to this harbor very much. I think I was really young last time I was here. Do they worship Rust?
The town as a whole, no. I mean, you've always heard stories, the rumors in Osprey's Cove that come from Iron Harbor tends to always paint them as a very, very harsh, very militaristic, very, might makes right style place. You've heard of, the fact that they are typically very strong worshippers of Gorum. So stuff about, always talking about their Lord in Iron, all that kind of thing, which you would think normally would be kind of antithetical to rust. Yes, iron does rust, but that's a sign of a broken weapon or a not looked after suit of armor. So you've never heard of a connection between them before.
Yeah, it was more of a asked aloud kind of thing. He's kind of biased against this particular little hamlet.
Yeah, I think Daegron might speak up there where it's speaking about this. As far as I know, they follow Gorum. So from what my mother said, she said they always miss the point. Not entirely sure what meant by that, but can't see that much. Doesn't seem to track. At least follower Gorum do.
Yeah, alright. Guess they're not that crazy over here.
So we
Can we
could ask
continue
him to-
on?
You don't see anyone over here. As I mentioned, it looks like there's a fishing pier here. There's maybe a small shack by it, but you don't see any sign of recent occupation or use.
I think Vanarel would have given it at least a more closer look over just the fishing area, but
it looks like it, maybe was last used maybe a week or so ago. You can't put an exact date on it, but it has been. It's definitely not been visited since the storm. There's some missing tiles off the roof. There might be a missing plank on the dock. Definitely seen better days, but you can tell it is sometimes used. The one thing that you're noticing now, as you kind of are looking over that, the big surprise is that there is a where's this note? There is a boat in the harbor that you would not expect. This one here is a very large trireme with flying a green and yellow flag of Zen Eurythenia, which is the capital city of Runelord Belimarius.
Oh.
That seems strange.
And usually when like tax collectors arrive, it was a much smaller, not quite as militaristic ship as this.
Does the shack look like it's a place that the fishermen keep their stuff, or a house?
This looks like a place people come to do a long day's worth of fishing. Does not look like a house.
I'll give it a quick knock, and assuming nobody answers, I'll try to push it open and see what's inside.
Yeah, as you said, inside there's probably a couple buckets. There's no fishing rods of any kind. There's like a pretty low quality like descaling knife. A couple of other small, not particularly sharp knives that look like they might be used for cutting bait or processing a couple animals here before bringing them back. Mainly just lots of
Both sides.
buckets.
Seems weird this hasn't been used. It's been a whole week.
And as we're all standing out towards this edge, do we see any like lights in the town from here?
From here, you see people moving around. It doesn't look. Actually, let's see. What is the distance here? You definitely see motion.
Yeah, you may not be able to see people, but specifics. But it doesn't seem like it's abandoned or that there's some great danger happening that he can
No.
see from here.
You definitely see movement. You don't see like fires burning from houses. Like, sure, you might see some smoke from chimneys, but you're not seeing like destruction. It might look like there's maybe a touch more debris than your town had on the coast that maybe has not been cleaned up after the storm, but the buildings themselves actually look like they're in better shape.
Well, should we go see what the problem is?
Sure. They might not have been fishing because they might be doing cleanup.
Yeah, or I think Daegron turns to Ordwy and says, "What do we tell them when we get there? We just saying we're checking in."
I hadn't thought that far ahead yet. I thought we would just find people and ask around if anyone knows about the missing priest, or was there a problem here? I mean, he had horrible things to say, like no time, last one alive, but this looks probably okay. We should just go and check on people and make sure everyone's doing okay.
Yeah, maybe try to find his next of kin or relatives and let them know what happened.
Yeah, his people should know.
And he kind of turns back and goes, "Let's keep our eyes out. This seems strange. Those Darrow on the road and him fleeing to Osprey's Cove of all places."
I'm going to move you, part way around the.
Yeah, I think that's like as they're walking, they're
Yep.
talking about this.
As you keep walking, you pass a set of 3 houses here. Let me make sure you can see where we are. All these houses look like they were never finished. They do look larger than all the houses that you're about to come up to. These look like they were maybe made to be some sort of like noble manors or some sort of, vacation house. You're not really sure. They don't fit the architecture of Osprey's Cove, definitely. And even from what you're seeing up ahead, these don't seem to fit. They weren't finished. 2 of them are kind of falling apart. They just seem a little odd here. You don't see any sign of life or people around here. There's no gardens. Everything here looks like it's been run down for years, if not decades. And pressing on a little more, 2 buildings do stand out to you right away at this point. I guess maybe even 3 buildings stand out. Definitely the red-roofed building up on the coast. It looks. You do at this distance. You do see people coming and going. That seems to be one of like the center points of activity for the village. People are stopping by, people are leaving, often carrying something small. You can't quite see what it is from this distance. The large orange building is also unusual to your eyes, at least from Osprey's Cove, but I believe both Vanarel and Daegron, who have been other places, recognize it probably as a dry dock of some kind, a place they probably make the larger boats. And it looks like it might be the most well-maintained building in the immediate area. And then, of course, there is a large fortress up here that looks very fortified. Looks like it's been here for a long time. It's not, none of these three buildings I'm putting out look new, but they do look very odd to your eyes. The red roof one at least matches the types of construction you're used to, but you're not used to buildings kind of calling attention to themselves like that. And as you approach, you are met by someone, a muscular woman armed with a greatsword and wearing full plate. Let me see if I think I have artwork for her. Do I? Not finding the artwork. Okay. But a muscular woman armed with a greatsword and wearing full plate armor emblazoned with the religious symbols of Gorum. She holds up a hand to indicate you should stop. She introduces herself as Sister Vanda and asks, "What is your purpose here?"
I think Dag called to, I believe Devi had it. Bring out that symbol of Gorum. He calls out towards this armored woman and goes, "We believe a member of your community, a devout follower of Gorum, made the journey to Osprey's Cove. He died upon arrival and spout wild ravings of danger here. Come to check and make sure everything is all right." And he kind of grabs the amulet of Gorum from her and kind of like holds it out.
Oh, that would have been Brother Blampton. Oh, he'd grown quite ill a couple days back. We were trying our best to care for him, but a few nights ago, he became paranoid and fled. We've been looking for him. We have no idea he made it all the way to Osprey's Cove. And who are all of you? Why were you chosen to come?
I don't know why they chose me. I guess maybe because I know a lot about various things. Sorry, I'm Dezi.
We're just the escorts for the Elder Ordwe here.
Oh, Elder Ordwe, is it? Oh, good. We someone with authority. Oh, that is so useful. I'll need you to come with me to Stoneholm. Lord Ragnolf would wish to speak with one of the leaders of Osprey Cove about Brother Blampton, but also about the future of the Kindred Coast. There's so much to discuss. Sadly, we only have room for one at Stoneholm. The rest of you will have to wait here in town.
And where is Stoneholm?
She points to the fortress.
Sense motive.
Sure. You can give me a perception check on that.
Yeah, I think
It's a large fortress. The fact that they'd only have room for one sounds a little suspicious, but who knows?
Oops, sorry to private.
That's fine. Dezi, you think this seems normal to you. Daegron, you can tell something is up. You're not sure what. You're not positive. But
I think it just kind of follows his suspicions already. She says that, he goes, "Well, one moment. You said this brother was paranoid. What was he paranoid about? He said something about danger here in Iron Harbor. I can't imagine a follower of Gorum would flee from something like that."
Oh, yeah. He was raving about invaders. I think he was angry about the visitors from Zenedrisil, but they've never been a problem. They come here, they tax, they leave. The least we do with them, the better.
Well, I for one am not comfortable leaving one of our leaders alone with this community
There we
that
go. I
we've
found her artwork.
not very often had very positive interactions with. She either has somebody stay with her, or she stays with us in the town.
Oh, it's so important, though. We really need to have her talk with Lord Ragnulf, the ruler of our town here. She's
And
looking a
I'm
little
sure we can
frustrated.
all go.
What was that?
I'm sure we can all go then and waste no more time.
Shouldn't you listen to your elder, see what she has to say? Maybe? And Vanda looks a little hopeful that Elder Ordwy will understand that sometimes things have to be done this way. Elder Ordwy pulls you, says, let me talk to them. We'll see. And Sister Vanda kind of huffs and is waiting, but is like stepping away to give you some time to talk to each other. And
Yeah, I think Daegron says to her, he's like, something's not right here. She seems off. I don't think she necessarily means us ill, but they aren't telling us what's actually going on here.
yes, something is going on here.
I don't need to be the one to tell you that we have a long history of not really getting along with this community.
Yes, but we want to change that, and change begins with trust, doesn't it?
Yes, and blind trust is different from simple trust.
But Thorum, while aggressive, has never fought the people who don't fight back. He seeks battle. We're just friends. That shouldn't be a problem. And besides, I don't know if you noticed, but she seems surprised when I mentioned Brother Blanton. Something here is definitely odd. And that Thessalonian ship in the harbor, that has to mean something as well.
He might be worried about what he had to tell us.
Oh, but I said he was dead. There was nothing he could have told us.
Yes, but maybe she's worried anyways.
Mention he was
what was that, Dezi?
He did mention he was rambling to us.
That's true, but all he said was meaningless stuff that just made us thought they needed help here. Obviously, they don't. I think I should just do the courtesy call, and you can check around the town and see what else is new, and we can, find a place to camp. Maybe we don't stay in the town after all. But looks like they don't need that much help. But
Can I convince you to take somebody with you?
I would like that, but I'm pretty sure Vanda's not going to allow that. She seems very, very fixed on this.
They're not the only ones that get to make the rules here.
It is their town. If they were in our town, I think we would... I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think we would have split them up.
I'd
I'd like to potentially do that.
like to read the air.
Particularly the first part of the second paragraph.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead and give me a check. It's hard to tell. I mean, you can tell that there's some intention here to separate her from you all. It does seem like Vanda thinks of the four of you as like the servants, the guards, but not people of importance. And
It could also be something that's private that they don't want to share with everybody too. In the end, I think it's the elder's decision, or our elder's decision.
Elder Ordwy will look at you, Dezi, and smile. Yes. Parting ways here for the evening gives you all a golden opportunity. I will accompany this Sister Vanda up to meet with the Lord Ragnulf, but you should look around the village. Keep an eye out, ask questions, find somewhere to stay for the night, and most importantly, find out what that Thessalonian ship is here for. But of course,
what do we
be
do
discreet.
if you turn up dead tomorrow?
Oh, that won't happen. Don't. Kate and Kalian will watch out for me. I'll bring drink. I know Gormlights love their drink too. We'll have a grand old time.
Right.
And I think Daegron would turn around and go, well, I think you should go, but don't base all of this around Gorham. Fountain of Gorham might dead with crossbow bolts in his back. Something stinks here.
Well, okay, I'll keep an eye open, but I don't know. People often have a worse impression of Gorham than I think is appropriate.
And he kind of like shifts a bit, and he's like, I agree with that, but yeah, as I said, there's something else besides Gorham here.
We're another hour in. I'm going to give Libby the hero point for this hour. There we go.
Thank you very much.
And so at this point, Ordry smiles to you and calls out to Sand the sister Vanda over, and with a final nod to you, the two of them start walking off towards Stoneholm, and leaving you to explore the town on your own. What would you like to do?
Well, I'd like to secure lodgings first, so maybe going to an inn would, or finding an inn would be the first step.
Good idea. The red building looks like it might be an inn, or at least a place we can ask about that.
Okay, you're going to head to the red building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just inside the building, the main room of this building smells of baked goods and strange bitter odors one might expect in an apothecary's shop. The room's decor seems undecided about whether it's a tavern, a curio shop, or an alchemist's laboratory. The low shelves that line the walls display a staggering mix of elixirs, unguents, jars of glue, fresh-baked goods, cutlery, mugs, and the occasional smoke stick or bundle of tinder twigs. And as you're looking around, this person comes out to greet you. Oh, you're new, ain't you? Where you come from? You here from that fancy ship, or did another weird ship come floating in when I wasn't looking?
We're from Osprey's Cove.
Oh, no, can't be. They haven't talked to us in ages. Too busy being stuck up and being part of a cooperative commune and talking to birds or whatever. Oh, by the way, I'm Elsie.
I mean, I do.
Fair. Oh, sorry, I'm Dezi.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
We're looking for
Vanarel.
lodging.
Oh,
What are you selling here?
oh, all kinds of questions. Sure. Lodging, we'll start with that one. I've figured we'd get here sooner or later. One of these days, someone will have to build a proper inn in town. But in the meantime, get it? Oh, yeah, I can help you out. You can stay here. I'll have to charge 5 silver a night per person. Kind of pointing at a back room that has a little bit of like straw and, kind of very poor quality, but not animal bedding. It is for use for humans and people, but it's not the best conditions. Oh, and for what I sell, a little bit of everything. Lots of things. Alchemical, mostly glues for ship making and dyes for clothing, but some stock of medicine and baked goods. But those are best in the morning when it's fresh out of the oven.
Sounds good.
Daegron turns over and he says, you know alchemy. Know anything that would eat through a set of armor in, a day or two?
Maybe a strong acid. I don't have any of those. Is that what you're looking for?
Oh, I've
I'm
seen it
think-
recently. I was curious.
Yeah, maybe you could ask the people up on the hill. They might know. They take good care of their armor. They've never asked me for help.
Up on the hill, and he's like the fort.
Stoneholm. That's where all the Gormites hang out.
Yes. And he's kind of like looks.
What's
like,
your opinion on Stoneholm, anyways? It's such a strange building to me.
Well, it's here. It's always been here. Not really my deal, but I like the stability they bring. They do fight a lot, but as long as you're not challenging them. They don't seem to bother us. You know, they think the person who's best at fighting is the best person to be in charge, which seems weird to me, but hey, it's not my religion. The place has been quiet for the last week, though, ever since them Thessalonians showed up. Fine with me. Fewer Gormites on the streets means less clanking armor and less noisy praying. Well, praying, fighting, I think it's the same thing to them. But still, it's not normal for them to be shut in this long.
Hmm.
So they've been quiet at the same time that ship in the harbor showed up?
Ever since that boat arrived about a week ago, they've been quiet.
What are those, tax collectors? And he kind of like looks back towards that ship, and he's like, I've never known the Thessalonians to be here for anything else, but that's a ship.
Saw someone in fancier clothes this time come off. Noble merchant? I don't know. Don't think this was the tax man this time. And none of them come by here to buy anything. That's just quite rude.
Yeah, kind of like looks around and goes, well, if we're staying here, we'd have to buy food and everything else. I think 5 silver is a little steep for that room.
Oh, dinner and breakfast will be included.
And he just kind of like continues unabated and goes, how about 3.5 each? It seems fair. It's not particularly set up for a group like us.
Are you really from Osprey's Cove? You're not trying to trick me, are you?
And then he goes, no, I've had plenty of good conversations with birds.
Well, no one's perfect. I guess if you're as poor as we've always heard, I can go to 3.5.
Very poor. And he puts 3.5 silver down.
You feel like she is definitely positive that you must all just, coexist on berries and whatever you can, and mushrooms you find in the field, and don't have. She's a little surprised you have such nice armor and weapons, given that. But
So Dezi's been wandering around looking through the shop. Does he see anything interesting in terms of like items here? Seems like some interesting curio in the shop.
Basically any level 1 or 2 alchemy items or mundane items. The one thing that's unusual that you see, she has a special. She advertises her special brew she has that she makes for people. But she says it's really only to help ward off the heebie-jeebies if you go up by those spires on the island.
I see.
Is something spooky up there?
I don't know. I went by once. Bunch of twisted metal, rusted spires left here. I think I was told a millennium or 4 or some crazy number like that ago. It's useless, but it does work as a good landmark if you're stumbling home late at night, on the sea and need to see something. But it makes people feel weird in the head. I got, I made this bottled vim that seems to help people out a little bit in dealing with it. But other than that, I don't know. I think people just are spooking themselves out. And hey, if they're willing to pay a little bit extra for some good tasting medicine, that does help with things. But I think it's all in their head.
Can I get a bottle of that in a room? How much would that cost?
So there's no rooms. There's just the kind of large common room.
She means she's going to be paying for the common room.
Okay. Yes. If you want the bottled vim, that is 3 gold.
So 3 gold and 3.5 silver.
Yep. I will drag the bottled vim onto your character sheet for you.
We'll also buy the bottle of the bottle.
Okay.
I was just doing a quick search on some alchemical items, and I actually saw something for rusthenge called an armor polishing kit. Does she have something like this here?
Let me look up.
Alchemical.
Let me look what that is. First, Dezi also bought the bottled vim. Is that right?
It's 3.5 silver each for the room.
Yes, and 3 gold if you're buying the bottled vim. Did you say you were buying that or not?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
So we were told to go sightseeing. That sounds like one of the good landmarks around here. How exactly are we supposed to get across to it, though?
Well, during low tide, you can just walk across to it, but that's about 6 hours from now.
Oh, okay. Well, we have plenty of time, so I'm sure 6 hours from now, well, I would be dead asleep, but perhaps if I'm sleepless, I'll go check it out.
And the armor polish you were mentioning, what was it called?
It's called an armor polishing kit, and it's a level 1 alchemical item, and it's used for cleaning and polishing armor. It gives
Yes,
a like
she would
+1
definitely have.
sand-
She would definitely have that on. She would have that if you wanted to buy
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He's gonna actually buy 2 of those, and tonight when they go to bed, during his when he's kind of sitting up for a watch, he's going to keep an eye on things. I don't think he trusts this. He's going to use that. So I'll take 8 gold out of it.
Okay. And so she says, "So I should expect you back later this evening, but you're going to look around the town first. It sounds like."
Yeah. Great. Do you know what that ship is at the dock there?
All I know, Thessalonian thing, seems to belong to some merchant.
Okay.
They've spent the whole week.
Dezi, having not paid attention to the conversation that happened before,
Yeah.
is nodding.
Yeah, he's some merchant, some noble. I'm not sure. They got here a week ago. They've spent all week talking. It sounds like up at Stonehome. Don't know what they're trying to negotiate. Must be a pretty important deal if they're still working at it. The ship is still at the dock, and I think they still have some crew there. I don't know how many, but even they haven't mixed with the town at all. They've not come in. They've not shopped. Um, uh, honestly, I think they think that we smell or something, and they don't want to come close to us.
It's so rude.
So you're saying that's not a good stop on our tourism.
Uh, it
All right.
could be. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they have any birds, so yeah, I guess probably not.
Noise, though?
Are we allowed into the large building? The not Stonehome, the other
Oh,
one.
the dry dock? Oh, sure.
Dry dock?
The carpenter, he's grouchy, but I think he always likes having someone stop by and talk shop.
Okay. We might pay a visit there as well. You know, just to see the sights.
Okay. So you head out from Elsie's shop, and sounds like you're heading toward the dry dock.
Once we're out of earshot and kind of away from people, I'll be like, "Yeah, maybe you just kind of. The elder did say to keep a low profile, so maybe we can walk by the docks and just take a look at the ship at some point too. I don't think getting a tour of it would work.
Yeah, probably not. But I'm going to that rusthenge thing tonight. It'll be an issue trying to stay awake for that. So, is anyone else interested who will wake me up?
Rusthenge? I mean, I don't think we should go there until we touch base with the elder.
I know. I'd love to go see it. I'm going with or without you.
Does that
Does seem
sound like a really good idea?
And good idea? No, but I really want to see this thing.
We do too, but that's why I bought this potion.
Exactly. That's why I bought this potion today. Because tonight I'm going to go see it.
Okay, we'll figure it out tonight.
And so where are
I
you?
think actually Daegron backed out like halfway through even the conversation with this with Elsie, and was applying like this armor kit because as he gets it, he's kind of like, huh. I don't know what they talk about this town. They seem to appreciate their arms and armor, and he's outside just outside the door as everyone was talking here, using one of these kits.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess Desi would be interested in heading to the docks and kind of just, looking around the dock area, not necessarily specifically at that ship, but he does want to figure out what that ship is and
Sure. So yeah, as you since that's on the way to the dry docks, we'll start with the regular docks. And as you're walking by, you can at least you see what looks like maybe about 8 to 10 crew members kind of still working on the boat. Um, it anyone here have sailing lore or anything of that nature?
Yeah, sure
You
do.
can roll that.
No, that's his brother.
Uh, you think they look, bored, like they've been in port too long, and probably like they're not being allowed off the boat by some of their officers. Uh, I I think you could use your lore here too, Libby. That's true.
Oh, okay. I'm going to roll my Edestrial lore. See what have I can notice about their attitude.
Yeah, I mean, you do know that from your understanding of the history of um, Philimarius's kingdom within the Rune Lord domain, her capital, you think used to kind of be on this island, or maybe kind of between these islands. You think it may have fallen to the ocean. So this might have some historical significance to them. The new capital at Zen Edersil is on the mainland, but it feels like this area might still be important to them, and this does seem to be an official vessel of some kind. The crew, you can tell, is like forcing themselves to find tasks to do to stay busy. It doesn't. It looks like they are trying to maintain discipline and order, but something seems a little wrong. They're forcing themselves a little too much.
There's something off about the way they're acting. They're kind of like, pushing themselves to look normal. That's interesting.
Maybe check to figure out if these, seem like official type.
Sure. From that role, it's hard to tell. Something doesn't feel quite like you don't think it's a naval vessel, but whether it's like an official messenger vessel of the city or a merchant who's been chartered to do official business, you're not really sure. But it feels like it's closer to one of those kind of definitely not military, but it still seems to be formal in some way.
On this, if that's okay.
What was that?
I'd like to use hero.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Well, as my house rule says, you cannot change a failure to a crit fail, so no change.
All right.
Okay.
Let's hit
I've
this.
never seen a more bored group of sailors in my life.
They're not bored. They're nervous. There's something up.
Right.
Let's go inside the dry dock and talk to the boatswain. Is that their name?
Probably
Title?
carpenter, boatsmith.
You might get some info on the Thessalonians there, maybe.
Yeah.
Going
maybe
in
he's
to
noticed
there,
something.
the massive dry dock is currently empty. No ship requires serious repairs, and the shipmaster Berger Fedorison is waiting on a shipment of lumber to start working on a new vessel. So he's oh, who are you? Haven't seen you before.
Some tourists from the other community on this island. The small place called Osprey's Store.
He laughs. It's like, oh, pull the other one. They're too weak to ever walk over here.
I mean, it
You'd
did
be surprised.
You really came from Osprey's Cove? Really?
Yeah.
Guess I need to rethink all about them. How's the fishing out that way?
Yeah, it's not too bad, depending on how the tides run.
Good to hear. Been good here too. So, what can I do for you? Are you looking to commission a boat?
Honestly, we're just kind of looking around in the community. This is one of the major landmarks, or so we're told.
Of
We're
course it
just
is.
wondering if you
Very
have
proud of this location.
the time to give us a little tour, I guess.
Uh, sure. Not much else going on. I can definitely show you around the dry dock. There's nothing to see, though. You can see over there, that should have lumber. There's no lumber. Over there, there should be a boat. There's no boat. Over there should be workers. I don't need them. I can't pay them when there's no lumber and no boat. I guess this is what you call a barn otherwise, I guess. Barns are just empty spaces, right?
Yeah, I
Is there
suppose.
nothing,
Go ahead.
is there nothing here?
Uh, Waiting on the shipment of lumber. It's supposed to come in yesterday. I'm guessing the storm delayed it, hoping it arrives eventually.
So, I guess,
Not a damn
so we didn't waste the trip. Do you have maybe some information about your opinions on the boats that are in the dock right now?
You're asking about that Thessalonian vessel, huh?
Yeah, that and the other two. Those would be kind of
Oh,
interesting to hear
the other
about.
two are just some of the fishing boats here. Uh, they they uh they spent all day in port just because they were dealing with all the repairs around town, and
Yeah.
I don't agree, but they seem to be superstitious that the day after the storm is the bad day to fish. I've always thought it was the best day to fish, but what do I know? I don't go out often enough anymore. But the Thessalonian trireme, I don't know about that. It's a mighty vessel. I wish I could make something even half as good as that. It's impressive. The guards, they let me stare at it a little bit, but when I started taking notes, they kind of waved me off. I guess maybe it is a military secret. Maybe. I don't know. Doesn't look military to me. I didn't see any gun ports. I don't know. Be fun to learn from it more, though.
What do you think about the fact that like the crew hasn't left it?
I think I think it bodes well. I think it shows that they're well disciplined and they're not here to bother us. I'm surprised they're still here, though. I know how hard it is to keep a crew cooped up. They've been there 7 days. Normally they'd be given shore leave. So whoever's commanding them in must really have their respect. I don't know. I'm not used to merchant crews that don't leave their ship, or I'm not used to military crews that don't sway around the whole town and make a big show of force. This is a little weird. It's polite, I guess, but weird.
Does anyone else have any questions for this man?
I think Daegron would ask him. He goes, "I heard the Gormites have been all tied up since they've got here. Seems strange."
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. You do better in this town without looking into the Gormites' business.
They got a bit of a reputation, do they?
They're the rulers here, and we stay out of their way. They keep the town safe. The least we mingle, the better.
The storm do a lot of damage here? I'm surprised. Would have expected to see more ships in here.
We are missing a number of our ships. I think they all are weathering the day or two out on some of the other islands before coming home. They do have bigger ships. We are able to deal with, longer journeys than some of the smaller fishing vessels. And there's so many islands in the Ironbound archipelago. So I think they'll be back in a day or two. I'm not worried yet.
Anyone else have a question for him? I have one more. I think I want to ask.
No, I think that's. I don't think he's got too much more to ask about this. Seems
Alright.
they're pretty separate. So, whatever's happening up on the hill, I don't think many people in town are going to know.
Yeah. Well, you've been on the sea a lot before. That rusthenge thing. Is it actually a really good landmark for finding your way back? Or is it just kind of there?
Well, some will swear by it, some won't. At night, sure, rusty metal sticking up into the sky doesn't make much of a visible landmark. During the day, it's pretty good. Occasionally, there's some weird lights flashing over there, and if if that was reliable, yeah, that'd be a great thing at night. Um, but haven't seen it every night. I wouldn't want to trust it to navigate by, but some sailors, they swear it saved their life. Most of the stories have been recent, though.
Recent?
I mean, we'd hear the story of the flashing lights maybe once a season for, off and on. But lately we've been hearing about it most nights.
Huh.
So is it like a known entity out there? Or is it just like a weird metal structure? Or is it one of those places that stories and rumors gather round about?
It's a little bit of both, I think. It's definitely who knows why anyone would have stuck spires of metal stabbed up from the earth to the sky, all different heights, roughly circular, and then left them there for however long it's been. They're mostly rusted through, hence the name rusthenge. They've been there as long as this town's been here, so, we've been here 100 years. We've been told rusthenge is millennia. And it just feels spooky, is what people say when you go by it. No stories of, like, actual ghosts possessing someone or chasing them away. It all just feels spooky.
All right. I think I'm done with this guy.
Yeah, I think Dezi's ready to move
What would you like to do next?
Is
on. I'd
there
at
like
least like
a
to walk there to see what the structure looks like.
Sure.
Can't get in.
Yeah, you can walk a
Yeah,
little
at the very
closer to
least, scope
Stonehome.
the entrance and see what it looks like.
Yeah, it definitely has, it looks like they built a stone wall across the one end of this valley, and that stone wall is, tall. Let me see. I have a description of it somewhere here. Spiked wall is 20 feet tall. There's, spikes, iron spikes sticking out from it all along the front edge. Those look well maintained. They're slightly, the bottom ones, at least the bottom like 5 feet, have been polished. The ones above that do show minor signs of weathering, but not like the extreme rust you've been seeing on like the armor type of example or the holy symbol. So it's not like it's a rust covered facade, but there is, definitely the ones that are not easy to reach and polish have weathered some. But yeah, it's 20 feet tall, spikes all over it. Very kind of small, not small, but like a double door gate in the center of it. That's what you can see from a cursory inspection from further away.
Okay, so the gate's not we can't see through the gate. It's
You can't see through the gate. It's wooden doors.
Okay, then there's probably not much to see here in general.
So, are we all going to head the rest of Hinge tonight? Because the lights sound really, really concerning.
The
They've
only
been going
place of
on for a
interest
while. I
that
guess
seems
they're
to
more
be.
common now.
I mean, I don't want to be the one who points it out, but dude covered in rust hinge. It might be our best lead to know what actually went on with that guy.
I know, I agree.
We
It's
should touch
the only
base.
interesting place around here.
Yeah, we should be able to touch base with the elder before we head out there. I would assume she's supposed to meet us for dinner, right?
I heard nothing of the sort.
I think she'll be gone for the night.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to meet up with her tomorrow.
I might have misunderstood that. I thought she said she was going to come back with drinks or something.
No, she was bringing drinks to the Goramites.
Ah, okay. So understood. My bad. I guess we can investigate tonight.
Yeah, it's the last big question mark around here. Well, big question mark.
Okay, so sounds like you're going to head back to Elsie's for a bit, maybe have the dinner, and then head out at night to explore the island over there?
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, during low tide, yeah.
Okay. Uh,
What's the moon look like? What's a full light
uh,
vision and stuff?
it's going to be it's going to be first quarter moon, so it will be fairly dark. You'll have some visibility.
I don't think I can get a full rest in between then and now, so I don't think I get my spell slots
No.
back, right?
No.
But
And
she's definitely going to go to sleep. Like, she's going to, like, spread her bedroll out, just plop down and just conk out.
I will take one of you roll me a d8 for what other rumor you overhear from just kind of other people on the streets.
Got it.
Okay. Let's see. You've actually heard everything from that one already, so I'll pick a different one. This one could be interesting. Those 3 abandoned manor houses to the west. We call them Gold's Ruin, on account that 10 years ago a bunch of southern nobles decided to build mansions there. I guess they left because they weren't strong enough to endure life here. Some say they're haunted. There's definitely flickering lights at night at times.
All right. Well,
All right, 2 places to check out at night.
And
Spooky place to be first, I assume Stillers.
I think we should go take a look at rusthenge. Whether we try to really investigate it tonight, I don't know. We'll see when we get there, but I think it's worth at least seeing.
I do have a light spell that I have prepared if we need sources.
and
Besides,
I can see in the dark. I'm good.
over your dinner at Elsie's, she will kind of pry a little bit more into, so why exactly are you here again?
Oh,
Yeah.
the elder
Something
wanted to
to our-
meet. I don't know
Something
why
that-
they really hired us.
The Gormite came to our place and it was weird. They died right in front of us, and or not in front of us, but in front of our townsfolk, and it seemed like something strange had happened to them.
And so you came because something strange was happening to us?
Well, they said that something bad had happened, so we came to ask and make sure everything was okay here. That your people were okay.
Well, maybe we do need an outside opinion. Things have been a little off here ever since those Thessalonians arrived. I don't really know what's going on. I think... What are you trying to discover now? Are you just sightseeing, or are you trying to do something?
well, we weren't allowed to go in to Stonehenge with the Elder, despite my protests. So we are kind of just sightseeing.
Well, I know it sounds like you want to go sightsee at rusthenge, and that I don't think you'd learn much there, but it is a good sightseeing location, I guess. I mean, it's the only sight to see around here, I guess. But maybe if you can find Daryl Finnick, he's a strange one, not actually a citizen of the village, and I think the Gormites and probably the Thessalonians don't know about him. He might have seen something. He often hangs out over by those abandoned manor homes.
All right.
It's Daryl. How do you know him? He's not part of the town. Is he a hunter, hermit?
If you believe it, he was the architect of those buildings. Came here from Magnamar, maybe 20 years ago. Started building those mansions, and then they all stopped paying. I think some sort of politics happened back home and all the nobles decided it wasn't nice to have a house here and never finished the product, didn't finish paying him. He wanted to stay here. I think he wanted to get away from the politics. But I don't think he's cut out for life here. Actually,
So what's he look like?
I think he said he wanted to talk to birds with you all sometime, but the journey was too far. What does he look like? He's kind of swarthy. Hair's, I don't know the term for it, but he has his hair in like braids that for his whole head normally, but a very well manicured beard for someone who's a hermit. Very, very run down. I don't know if it's leather or fancy fabric. I don't know. Looks like he's wearing the same clothes he's worn for 10 years, but good quality.
Well,
You say things have been weird here. What exactly? Like, how have they been weird?
Well, just as I mentioned, the fact that the Goramites aren't coming through here is odd. The fact that the Thessalonians are staying on their boat and not leaving and not doing anything else is odd. The extra lights, people talk about a lot more at rusthenge than they used to. I don't know if people are just nervous and making up things, but usually it was like, a couple times a year there'd be some strange story about rusthenge. Now it's every day someone's talking about it. And more and more people coming to me for help. I think people are just nervous. People are
help?
getting injured
You
all
mean
kinds
your-
of simple little ways, cutting themselves while cooking, twisting an ankle, all the usual things. But often they'd either tough it out or they would have been careful in the first place. But they're coming here for minor healing stuff.
Huh. Well, I
Maybe we
think we could maybe pay a visit to the local hermit then, guys.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
we'll stop by
let's,
there
let's
first
head
if
there.
it's not made time yet and see if he's around.
Okay.
Worst case, if he's nothing fun, we can always head to rusthenge afterwards.
Okay. So you're heading over to Gold's Ruin, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've piqued our interest, I think.
Well, if there's lights there and there's lights they've been seeing at rusthenge.
Well,
makes
the
sense to
lights
it.
could
It's either
just
closer.
be the man who lives there at night.
True.
So you make your way over to here. And as I said, you see 3 houses. The westernmost one is little more than a foundation, so it doesn't match the map. The western one is a little more than a foundation. The eastern one is partially collapsed. And the center one is the smallest, but the soundest of the 3. It does look like it has an exterior wall and, working roof. And out of the 3, which one do you want to approach?
I mean, I think it makes sense to approach the smallest and most stable one first, but I kind of want to see the foundation one because I want to see if this is actually a good architect or not.
Sure. So you can walk up to that one. You can give me a crafting check or an architecture lore.
Well, crafting check it is.
Nothing here is complete. I don't know what you can really find from
Woof.
Vanarel and Daegron, you both can tell that this was well made, maybe even to the point of like spending more than you need to kind of show off on like how well made the foundation was poured. It's like foundation doesn't have to be that perfect. It's very, very, sharp edges, smoothly well done. You can tell it was dug deeper into the earth fire than it had to be. But, maybe on the shore you want to do that. But it does feel like this was expensive, but well made. Just never finished.
Superfluous basement or anything.
You don't see any evidence of anything. Like there's definitely some area carved out for like a root cellar. And even that looks well done, but you can tell it was never, more than just the foundation. Like there's no rough-in work, there was no plastering. It was just left as like the bare foundation of well-fitted rocks.
Okay. And Libbiel's going to look at them and go, should we check out the collapsed building next before we go to the guy's probable house?
Sure.
Okay. That one, I can take a society check.
Can't help you there.
Dezi, you do notice on, some of the collapsed woodwork that would have been framing the door, a crest that you recognize as the Vanarel's house crest. This is, one of the noble houses of Magnamar. You don't know much about them in general, just that they were kind of one of the middle tier of nobles. Maybe bucking for a little bit more status than maybe they deserve and trying to show off a little bit, but still successful, very, very mercantile-based house.
Sorry, what was that family name? Just one more time.
Vanarel's.
Ah,
I can paste that into chat if you need to see the spelling.
I just wanted to know if I had some long lost cousins here or something.
Yes, it was kind of close. That is true.
Oh,
And there's nothing.
They're in
There's.
the middle.
Hmm?
If anyone is here, they'd probably be living in the
Yeah.
The
But
one
I'm
with the
going
roof.
to
Yep.
check to see if there's any intact parts of this building that could be used as like shelter.
The collapsed one, you'd be hard pressed, especially after the storm. That looks like it's even knocked it down more. You see it's waterlogged, timbers everywhere on that house right now.
Yep, and this is definitely not the guy's place. So yeah, let's go see the very obviously the correct answer.
So as you,
Should we knock?
I guess if there's a door.
yeah, there's a door. So you knock. You hear a little bit of like scuffling from inside, and the door gets opened, and you see this individual. Daryl's the name. Daryl Finnick. Well, used to be a lot of things, but most recently an underpaid architect and now just Daryl. These are my houses. Come on in, come in, come in. Who are you all? What are you doing here?
We're from afar. We were escorting a very important elder of our community to this hamlet here, and well, they wouldn't let us in Stonehenge, but I think you probably expected that sort of response from this community.
Oh, yes. Yes. They don't like mixing with anyone.
I
Yeah.
heard you had some news maybe on what was going
Yeah.
on here.
Oh.
Seemed a little strange.
News about
Elsie pointed us
news
to.
about what?
Well, somebody from the community might have told us that you might have had some insider information about how the Goramites do their thing.
Well, are you asking about their building, or are you asking about them?
More their building, I suppose.
Well, that I can tell you about. Place is old, that's for sure. Well, the lower portion at least is. The upper works are kind of new, not so well made. Gorham's not a god of architecture, but I suppose it works well enough for them. Interesting place, though. I've long wondered about the interior. He kind of trails off until he's trying to envision how the fort would be laid out.
Got a pretty good view of Stonehenge here too. Sorry, Stonehenge, Rusthenge here too. We've heard that there's like a lot of activity there, lights and stuff. You know anything about that?
I stay away from the place. Went there once years back. Felt like I was being watched. That was enough for me. But lately I've been seeing weird lights up there at night. Nothing bright. Thought I was imagining it the first time, and I doubt you can see them all the way down in the village. But up here on this cliff, you've got a better view of Rusthenge. And yeah, weird lights. My take on it? Them Thessalonians are up to something up there. And that makes sense, since Rusthenge is one of their old buildings. Yeah?
What made you say that? Because nobody else has said anything to the effect.
Well, it's 1,000 years old or so, right? And wasn't that when they were around last time?
That's my guess, yeah.
That does make sense. You have any interesting ideas on what they're up to?
Well, they showed up the week ago. A delegation of Gormites met them at the pier. I watched it from the cliff here until they all headed up to Stoneholm. And for the most part, they haven't come back out. Although I keep an eye on them after dark on nights when it's not too stormy. I saw them unload a big crate from the ship in the middle of the night, and they carted it up to Thunderhead Isle.
Oh,
And Thunderhead Island's the name of the the name of the island that Rusthenge is on.
okay.
The Thessalonians did that.
I couldn't tell who they were. The people who carted it up came down from Stoneholm and went back in afterward. But they did come by the ship.
Okay.
Whether they
That's
were the
enough.
Thessalonians coming back from Stoneholm and going back after doing something, or whether it was the Gormites with permission, it was dark. I just saw bodies.
So, you have a theory that Rusthenge was an old building. What kind of purpose would a building like that serve?
Art?
Art?
I mean, I don't know. It just spires of metal.
Yeah, that's why I was curious to see if your architectural knowledge might
I-
shed some light on why someone would put spire of metal into the dirt.
I've wondered if it was like, if they had so much metal that they could use it as like the support beams and everything else has faded away over the years, or maybe something underground, and it's like all those stories of like magicians trying to capture lightning bolts.
Ooh,
I don't know. I mean, I tried to look at it once, but it was too spooky. I didn't stay there.
understandable. Well, what do you think, guys?
Well,
You might be
there's
right. I
not
think
much
a
else
visit out
besides going to Rusthenge.
Maybe
Yeah.
we don't light spells unless we need to. I don't.
I think it's probably better for us to keep it up,
But-
even if it's a bit of a risk.
So it sounds like your plan is to wait until a little bit later in the evening, so it's the low tide, so you can go across the sand bridge and go over to Thunderhead Island and check out Rusthenge.
Yes.
And we will leave
but
that
we're going to,
for next week, as we were at the 3-hour mark. Thank you all. I hope everyone has enjoyed the first inaugural stream of this adventure path, or this Kit Bashed adventure. And I want to thank all my players for a great first session here. Thank you, Dezi, Libbiel, Daegron, and Vanarel. And next week, we will see what awaits the team on Rusthenge. Good night, everyone.